So that's a very brief rundown of the work that's been funded to date in this space, and you can see there's been a focus on technology to harness the capabilities of technology to try and translate existing knowledge. Some work on some newer approaches, such as the prebiotic approaches, and an overriding theme really of trying to ensure that we are reducing inequalities in health outcomes in New Zealand. So what I'd like to do now is really to just ask you two key questions. And that's on the background of what I've presented to you. It's also on the background of saying that you will have noticed there has not been a lot of focus on obesity per se. So in New Zealand, in the last 5 or 10 years, if you do a summary of the amount of health or funding dollars that have gone into obesity research, it's relatively low. So is that an area that we should be increasing a bit more? It's saying that we know this concept of big data is becoming useful, being able to understand about patterns within New Zealand, being able to draw on big databases, and should we be focusing on perhaps interacting with those things. It's recognizing, and I say this particularly in this group, that type 1 diabetes is very, very important and is an area that there's not been a focus on, and to acknowledge that actually that's been an active decision, because the feeling has been that internationally there is a lot of work going on in the area of type 1 diabetes with a lot of expertise internationally, and that's not actually a skill set that we particularly have in New Zealand. We don't have key research groups that are set up and experienced and focused and skilled to work on type 1 diabetes. So I think it's very important to say it's not that we don't think type 1 diabetes is important. We do, we absolutely do. But that from New Zealand's perspective, what we're going to invest our health research dollars in, that is not an area that we can prioritise. However, if people have got some specific ideas, we're very open to hearing about it. So in the context of that, given the available resources, and you've seen how actually small that really is, do you think that we have focused on the right areas? Are we asking the right questions? And what diabetes-related research do you think will make the greatest impact for New Zealand in the next 5 years? So in other words, where should we be focusing that next tranche of dollars in terms of our research? We're hoping that the projects that we've funded already will begin to yield some answers and results that will also inform that, but are we heading in the right direction? So I'd like to open it up to the floor for people to ask questions or to comment or to give suggestions, and I'll skip to this and come back, and I'll leave this up at the end. There is a website there that we would very, very much like people, if you go away from today and you're thinking about this, you're stewing away on something I've said, or come up with a brilliant idea that you think is something we should be focusing on or working towards, then would very, very much encourage you to go to that website and provide that feedback to us, and it will be all collated and taken to the science leadership team.